everyone, I'm Orestria, and I'm here with Demonac, and it's time for our 2015 fan Q&A.
Yay.
Gabe Goblin Gravy JD says, I wonder how long Demonac's been playing D&D, and if he played as a teenager, what kind of early experiences with group dynamics he had.
I did start playing D&D in high school, and probably fairly early in high school, just with my friends. I don't know how well we knew what we were doing, but we sort of figured it out as we went along. I tried DMing once or twice, and I think I was pretty bad at it at the time. Wasn't very mature, but I don't know. We have a lot of fun, but I honestly don't remember a whole lot of it, like what my characters were, or specifically what we did. So, yeah, I don't know what kind of dynamics we had going on.
I remember being used as a test subject.
Yeah, I did that. And remember, she's 7 years younger, so there may have been different maturity
I'm like
level.
8 years old playing D&D and Warhammer
Go over here.
40,000.
Sure, it was good for you.
I would confidently say it helped make me who I am today.
There you go.
The protagonist asks, your thoughts on Roll20?
I haven't played Roll20 that much. It seemed like a pretty good online system for role-playing games. I don't have a lot to compare it to because I haven't done a lot of other like online ones. But I played the one-shot game for like 3-4 hours, and yeah, Orestria has played a whole lot more on Roll20, and she can tell you a lot more about that.
My entire current campaign, which like I started at level 3 and we're like level 18 now, so it's been a long campaign, has been on Roll20. Mostly because we all live in different countries, so it's a bit crazy. I think it works really well. Sometimes, if you don't have a lot of time to devote in D&D, like you're very busy with work and you're only playing once a week or once every other week, sometimes it can be hard to keep up with changes because Roll20 is constantly changing and improving, but at the same time, it's constantly changing and improving. It's a good thing. They recently came out with new character sheets that more carefully integrate into how you roll and how you make macros. I don't know if it's available for everyone because my group actually pays like the yearly subscription. So we have things like dynamic lighting. So if my character doesn't have low light vision, I'm actually seeing a different game board than the Warlock who can see everything in the dark. So it's really good. You can whisper to your fellow players or to your GM very easily. I can very easily make a secret roll to the GM using GR roll or GR instead of R for roll. I haven't really had any trouble with it. I think in the couple of years I've been playing, there was like one night where we couldn't play because the servers died. So that's not bad at all.
Out of years, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. And they're very responsive on Twitter. So that day when the server went down, we knew right away because they immediately tweeted like, guys, this is what's happening. And then when it came back up, they immediately went like, hey, we're back.
Yep.
So yeah, they're pretty good. It's nice because it's not D&D specific. You can really play kind of whatever system you want to play within their framework.
Yeah, it'll still help you make and use maps, move around figures, do die rolls, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Nimmermer?
Yeah, probably Nimmermare.
Nimmermare asks, well, he's asking both of us, what's your favorite D&D class to play or have in your party? Yeah, I often start with more who my character is and then kind of choose a class that goes with my story. So, like, I don't know, I can't even remember the last time I repeated a class. I tend to really vary up my game. That said, if we're talking about a D&D class to have in our party, like a D&D class that's really fun to have around,
Mm-hmm.
I find Warlocks are really fun to have around. The idea of the class has this kind of dark history that leads
Yeah.
to some interesting past or interesting relations to other people, and they can have some fun and varied powers.
Yeah.
And let's face it, bards are amazing.
Yeah, you can have the bard.
You can have so much. Well, I'm not even saying necessarily for me to play a bard,
Yeah.
but having a bard around, even like a cohort, like if you have leadership, a
Hmm.
bard is a good cohort to have.
Yeah.
They know so much random shit, and it can really lead to some good fun.
They're fairly helpful as a GM.
Yeah,
You can give out the exposition.
yeah.
Although they can also annoy you if you don't want to give out some of the
You
exposition.
like your exposition dump.
It occurred to me in editing that I never actually answered the favorite class question. So, if I had to break it down, I would actually probably agree that Warlock is one of my favorite classes in terms of coolness and their like flavor and stuff. Not only do they have a cool variety of backgrounds, especially as it made more explicit in 4th and 5th edition, where it can be a demon pact, it could be a fae pact, or the like crazy Cthulhu pact. They're all cool and there are different aspects you can explore there. Are you a good person that has this pact with an evil entity? Are you actually being bent towards evil and are you being warped by the elder gods, or do you have an interesting sort of interaction with some kind of fae spirit that can be cool in all kinds of different ways? The 3rd edition, like 3.5 edition version of the Warlock really appealed to me, and just to some extent the 5th ed version, because I'm strongly biased towards things that are permanent or which can be reused indefinitely. I'm the person who I'm that person who wants the eternal wands from the Magic Item Compendium, where you can use it twice a day, forever. Instead of the one that has 50 charges, which is, for many spells, just like a ton of charges. Like, you'll probably never run out. And even if you do, it's super powerful, because if you have that Wand of Fireballs at a level where a Wand of Fireballs is good, you can go Fireball, 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 until things die. You can Fireball 5 rounds in a row using that thing. And that's incredibly powerful. And I'm that weirdo, I'm that guy that just like the way I like to prioritize things, I would rather have the one that'll only do it twice in a day, but I could do it twice a day forever and it'll never run out. And even though the 50 charges on many kinds of wands would probably never run out anyway, I just like that it's at will, that it lasts better. So I like the 3.5 Warlock's ability to just what they're doing is less effective. It is just flat out, with a couple exceptions, you can get into stuff where they have certain abilities they can choose that are really good, but overall and for the most part, they're just flat out less powerful in any given round than a wizard or a cleric. But they can just keep blasting things forever, and that is awesome to me. Although that became less awesome in comparison with other classes when Complete Mage came out, and you could get sort of weak but at will spells that are a little bit like the 5th ed cantrips. And then in 5th edition, they still have those sort of at will powers, but I don't know. I'm not feeling them quite as much. But anyway, they're cool, but they're not necessarily that great. On the other end of the spectrum, I really like the Tome of Battle classes. I think they're cool. I think they feel really good, especially the Warblade. Like the way they can recover maneuvers and all the various options that they have are great, flexible, powerful, and they are cool, but there's a point at which they're actually sufficiently overpowered. Like, are they better than a wizard? Not really, but they feel overpowered compared to a lot of things, and they are overpowered compared to a lot of the not as optimal things in 3rd edition. So, at some point, they seem almost less cool because they're so strong that you want to just use them all the time. So I think overall, in terms of a more balanced class that I really like the Scion and the Wilder from the expanded Psionic Handbook. I find that they are very cool in flavor in a way that they work a little bit different from mages. I think they're really comparable, especially the Scion and the Wizard are really comparable in power, and they're better at different things. But there are a lot of people that are like, oh, Psionics is so overpowered. No, no, no. Real wizards are overpowered. Psionicists are overpowered. in certain areas, overall, I'd say they're pretty balanced. And it really, if you're going to do a lot of fights in a day, the wizard is much better for that. If you want to change the universe, the wizard's better for that. If you want to do fewer fights and blow your load on every fight and just like alpha strike things, the Scion is better for that. And a lot of people's play style is like 2 fights, rest, 2 fights, rest, which is one of the game design problems. But anyway, that's pretty much my, that's what I have to say about favorite class, if I had to pick.
The Creepy Lantern also asked, what alignment do you see yourselves, and what alignment do you see each other having?
What alignment am I? You know, I know it sounds weird, but I am probably lawful good. I'm pretty inclined to, like, law-abiding and stuff like that, and I'm in favor of people having rights and not being hurt and things like that. I'm not likely to, like, sacrifice people to get ahead. But you have to remember, the alignment system's a little rough there, because you can have, like, a lawful good tyranny. You can have, like, you can have a villain who is lawful good. It depends a lot on the circumstances, on what they believe, and just because they're lawful doesn't necessarily mean that what they're doing is right. But honestly, yeah, I think I'd have to go lawful good.
Honestly, I'm really bad with the alignments because I don't like the way they work most of the time.
There is that.
Like, I consider myself very lawful, but I also ignore stupid laws, like I jaywalk.
That is true.
You know? And I have no qualms about jaywalking, but the reason I don't care about jaywalking is because I consider myself a good person. And if I'm jaywalking, am I hurting anyone?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm paying attention and making sure there's no cars, then no, I'm not hurting anyone. But I would very much avoid anything where I was going to be hurt or someone else was going to be hurt. I try to be very conscientious. But I don't know if I can call myself lawful, because I don't follow, like, the way they put it out in the book is, like, you follow every law.
Yeah, well, that's, like you said, the alignment system's not very good. I mean, I jaywalk all the damn time, because, yeah, that's the, is it even really a law?
I follow the law when the law makes sense, the law is not hurting someone, because sometimes the law hurts people, let's be real.
Yeah.
And I follow the law if I don't have a good reason not to.
Yeah, it's more that last part is why I tend to, if I'm forced to, like, pick an alignment, I think I have to go lawful good, because I am inclined to follow rules if it's not, like,
if there's no reason not to.
You know, ones that aren't laws and stuff. I'm the guy that, like, at the supermarket checkout, if, like, if the cashier, like, misses something, I'll tell them.
We also went into the express lane.
That would have been free.
We also went into the express lane today, realized we had too many items, and turned around and left.
That's only because I had a lot too many. Like, I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't even think about the fact that I was walking to the express lane. I don't, like, leave the express lane because I have 2 items too many. But I had a full cart. I was just not thinking when I went down there.
They literally wouldn't have done anything.
No, I know.
Like, I used to work there. They would have just said, like, you know, this is supposed to be express, but no, it was...
Yeah, no, and that's common sense, and it makes a lot of sense from customer service point of view. But yeah, it's when you call my attention to the express lane, it's like, oh, oops, I didn't realize I was going down the express lane with this much stuff.
Right. What alignment do you see the other one as having? Lawful good. I mean, I like joking about you being evil, but I don't actually believe
I'm okay
you're
with
evil.
that. Yeah, I'm a fan of fictional evil. I really like fictional evil. You know who's awesome? Fictional Nazis. Number one reason they're awesome, because they're fictional. They're not actual Nazis. Turns out actual Nazis do a lot of bad things. I am not in favor of that. But you've got to admit, fictional Nazis, I mean, they've got the cool uniforms. They usually have cheesy accents. Red Skull. Major Maxim from Danger Girl, a comic I don't even actually read, but I bought an action figure for him because he's like a giant Nazi cyber Darth Vader. I like fictional evil, so yeah, but in terms of how I actually act, it's gonna be good.
And I don't know if it was to you on Twitter or to one of my friends, but I was pointing out that in the media, like in movies and books and stuff, they tend to cold pragmatists, like logical people who don't react super emotionally, tend to get displayed as evil.
Yeah.
And so it's usually for that reason that I call you evil, because you're the one who's gonna make the joke.
Yeah, but
You're the one who's gonna say the...
No, the protagonist of Log Horizon, okay, he's a little bit Machiavellian. They literally refer to him as the villain in glasses.
The glasses and the facial hair don't help, no.
That doesn't help that perception. But
also, you're starting to go gray, like you're starting to look like
yeah,
a Marvel
starting to
villain.
get a little bit of that going on. Yeah. But yeah, I'm inclined to think you're like chaotic something, but I don't know.
I've had this conversation with people where they consider me very random or very chaotic, but I always point out it's always in ways where there's no reason not to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think being...
You're not going to make random, like, financial decisions.
No. It's just, if I feel like wearing cat ears to the mall, I'm going to wear cat ears to the mall because there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
It makes me happy. There's no law against it. It's not hurting anyone.
And you don't care what other people think.
So it's not illogical or crazy.
Yeah.
Or, like, unlawful or...
Yeah.
But in kind of colloquial terms, it's chaotic or random or whatever.
Yeah. Again, the alignment system is pretty bad. It's not even good as, like, a game system, particularly. It needs some replacement.
Yeah, it's...
I'm going to do a video about that at some point. But I think the baseline is, it was never really meant to be a good system. They just needed some way to decide whether you could wield the Holy Sword and whether that guy should take extra damage from the Holy Sword.
Yeah, in the campaign I'm in currently, it kind of boils down to are you good, neutral, or evil. Like, the chaotic part doesn't come up too often.
Does the holy weapon burn you? Or does it make you feel happy?
And I know that most campaigns I've ever played in haven't been too strict about, like, if it says a certain character class can only be these alignments, we've historically ignored the shit out of that.
Yeah, it's pretty much better.
Okay, alright. Sophie Reynolds asks, how are you both so cute? I don't understand.
Next.
Nimmermare asks, has either one of you ever been to Germany or Europe?
I have technically been to Europe. I went on a school-ish related trip for 2 weeks to Paris and parts of France, which was kind of cool. But I mostly have not. I've rarely left Canada other than that, and some trips to the U.S. when I was young.
I've traveled around a lot, but it's mostly been in Asia. I have in fact only been to Paris. And it was fantastic because I was the last person in my family to go to Paris. He beat me even though he doesn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Jerk.
I'm on the internet. I don't need to go places. They come to me.
Nimmermare also asks, oh yeah, he has a whole bunch of questions. He's the 8-question guy. Favorite ice cream?
I don't pick a lot of like favorite things, but I mean I like basic, like straightforward, like Heavenly Hash, like or like chocolate chip cookie dough sort of variants, things that are full of like chocolate and or vanilla and just pretty basic stuff like that.
Ben and Jerry's chocolate fudge, but it's actually got chocolate brownie in the chocolate ice cream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I would probably like that too.
It's very yummy. In general, I like stuff with chocolate and or vanilla, but I don't like the texture of having something hard or crunchy in my ice cream. So I don't want nuts in my ice cream.
So no Heavenly Hash for you.
No Heavenly Hash.
Maybe the chocolate chip cookie dough.
Cookie dough is fine, yeah, as long as it's like
soft. Yeah,
it's not like crunchy, like it's not Rocky Road or something. It's you know, there's some cookie doughs out there that have crunchy stuff. Nimmer also asks, do you attend the big gaming conventions like E3,
Nope, I don't go anywhere. If they showed up in my town, I would probably go, but even then, only if like I could arrange those going with my friends, because I'm not gonna just like wander down to a convention. I don't know. If you guys get me enough subscribers and stuff that this channel like blows up and
You
then
get press
suddenly I'm like
passes?
famous-ish or something, then I might consider going to show up in places. But I'm not big on traveling, so that would take a lot of subscribers, like a lot.
I've been to some anime conventions, but even then, none of the super big ones. I'm a gamer, but I'm not a huge gamer. I don't like first-person shooters for one thing, so that takes out half the gaming genre.
Well, E3 specifically is just for marketing to like other companies for the most part.
Yeah.
It's not really for the people that much anymore.
Yeah. So no. Question 7. What is your most stereotypical Canadian character trait?
I'm sorry, I can't think of one.
I actually get teased by my Canadian friends or Canadians where I'm living overseas because I am the one who says A. It's not everybody. It's not him. I'm the one.
I say it sometimes, but
No,
not very frequently.
not as much as me.
There are places where I say A where a non-Canadian would not, but it is not really something that comes up very often.
I've definitely gotten teased for saying A more than most people, but I still don't say it anywhere near every sentence.
No, it's not like the stereotypes on TV.
No, it's not that bad, but I would say I definitely say A more than average. Question 8 from Nimmer. Are you excited about the New Horizons mission reaching Mars? Are you excited about space stuff in general?
I'm not all that excitable, so it's hard to say I'm like super excited about in particular a Mars mission. There have been a lot of Mars missions. I am very interested in space stuff. I try to follow along a little bit, but yeah, I don't go like fanboy over a lot of things. Just like there are lots of like movies and franchises and stuff that I really like, but get excited over them, yeah. Wait till they send a mission to Europa or one of those other moons that may have oceans. I'd be very interested to see what happens there.
Mindsword also asks, everyone has some character they built that they enjoyed making or playing, and who is yours?
I've enjoyed playing lots of characters. There's a pretty fun one. I'm not sure I lived up to its full potential, but I did have a lot of fun with character. It's probably spoiling because usually in the D&D excerpts I don't say who my character was. In the one where I'm a player, but I'm a player in most of them. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, if you spoilers, if you care about like trying to figure out who I was in the D&D excerpts, but in the series 3 excerpts, the ones with Tree, Lakshana, and Three Eyes. Yeah, I was Three Eyes, and Three Eyes was pretty cool because he was a changeling. He wasn't like one of those walk around turn into everybody sort of guys. He could do that, usually didn't. He was one of the ones where he had sort of a short catalog of personalities. It was not exactly like a split personality, but if he was doing something brave or wanted to do something brave or whatever, he would tend to turn into this sort of young human male sort of personality that he had. But he had a dwarven sort of personality that he would change into for different kinds of things. He had like an old man, and he was pretty fun because he had these different personalities. They were all similar in many ways, but sort of different. And I don't know, I had a lot of fun playing him. Also, his name was Three Eyes. I like that because I wanted that to be my name in World of Warcraft, and the piece of crap naming system wouldn't let me have 3 E's in a row. And there were no spaces, like dashes and stuff like that. There was no way to make Three Eyes like, and I was happy with Three Eyes all one word, but no, it's like that's 3 characters in a row. You're obviously spamming. It's like, screw you. It's like 2 words. It's a name.
Trapmaster says, the rest of my party has a tendency to not do much role-playing, just combat, and I really enjoy role-playing. What is a good way to start getting other people involved in this very big part of the game?
That's pretty tricky coming from a player's point of view. Although then again, if you're the DM and all the players want more action stuff and less role playing, you might have to roll with that. As a GM, you have more tools to try and present sort of dramatic situations and maybe get people into that. But you probably just have to sort of pick away from it. You have to figure out, like, these people must have some concept of their characters beyond a block of stats or like a two-handed specialized barbarian or whatever. Just try and figure out what sorts of things they like, what sorts of things they don't like, and maybe when you get a chance, when there's an NPC, you guys have to talk with them, just try and like talk to the GM in character and try and actually have a bit of the conversation when otherwise like the other players would be inclined to just sort of skip it and say like we do this or we ask him this. You just have to keep trying to roleplay a little bit and see if it works. Ultimately, you could talk to the GM and the other players and see what they think, because maybe they give you a little bit more of a chance, and then maybe they'd like it, maybe not. But I don't know, it doesn't hurt to ask, I guess.
You could also try like, because just because you're doing combat doesn't mean you can't be doing RP.
That's right.
You can be saying like, "Hey, Black, catch!" Or like in Lord of the Rings, you have Legolas and
Gimli.
I was gonna say Murden, and I knew that wasn't right. Legolas and Gimli like counting how many people and racing. Like you can if you start to interact with their characters.
Yeah, narrate your own actions, flourishes, but try and incorporate them into it, and then, like you said, maybe they'll get into it.
And, like, they might not even know, like, they could just kind of fall into it, so.
If they enjoy the combat, they might enjoy that sort of, like, action movie banter sort of aspect of the combat. That's probably a great way to get them into it.
Yeah. But I'd like to think they're your friends, and you could maybe just say, "Hey, guys." And then you asked, is that Pikachu screaming in the background? Yes!
It is definitely screaming.
It's Pikachu screaming in the background. He has this little bubble that says oops and it squeaks. And it's actually a whole line of Pokemon related stuff called Pikachu Oops that I got in Japan. Okay, I might be a little weird. Duke Hollywood asked, Demonac mentioned he played the Warhammer series games. Which ones did he play? Does he still look back favorably on them? And favorite gang in Necromunda?
I played a little bit of Warhammer 40,000. I got the Warhammer 40k Epic, although I barely ever got a chance to play that with anyone. I did play a reasonable amount of Necromunda, and I like the Blood Bowl game, actually. Blood Bowl is pretty awesome. I've got a couple versions of that on a computer. So do I look back favorably on them? They do a lot of stuff that is cool, and I think that there's definitely like a niche there that is not well filled by other people for a good like army building game where I like the lists of stuff and you're picking your guys with points. And I know there are actually lots of games that do that, but I found they did that well. They marketed pretty well, but in practice, I think their games are a little bit too randomness focused and not well balanced historically. And yeah, I haven't actually played a horrendous amount of them. I did used to buy a lot of White Dwarf magazines. I bought more White Dwarf magazines than I actually played games of that stuff, probably. And I did play Necromunda some, and I had a lot of fun. I think my favorite gang that I played was the Van Sars. I mean, all the initial gangs are pretty similar stat-wise, but they were the Russian like guys, which was kind of they were Russian, and they looked like they were wearing still suits from Doom. Like they just looked a little bit more high tech than a lot of the other like gangs. I feel like I would have liked the Spirers from the expansion. I never got the expansion. Those are the guys there. Your gang is like 4 dudes. They're a bunch of rich boys from the city up above where it's not crap. There are not many places in the 40k universe that are not crap. So these guys come down from there and just for sport, they hunt other human beings with super advanced technology. So the other gang is like a street gang with AK-47s, and you're coming down there, and one of your guys is like the Predator, one is like a tank in powered armor, and et cetera, and it's ridiculous. And I like how they feel. I don't know what their rules were like at all, because I didn't have the expansion, but they seemed like my style, and probably overpowered and just win.
I remember Warhammer existing.
There you go.
That's about it. I was wee. It's a wee little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Probably lost a lot.
When I'm 14 and you're 7, and I'm getting you to play these games, you may not have had a sufficient level of strategy in hindsight.
I don't even remember what a Necromunda is. Okay, moving on. Alright, last question from Gavin Lawson. How was your relationship as young adults?
Well, again, I mentioned briefly, we were 7 years apart in age. There were no other kids in between there.
No.
Just the two of us.
Big difference.
So you have to figure, when were we together as young adults? Not a whole lot. When I was 18, you were 11.
Yeah, depending on your definition of young adults, I don't think we were ever young adults together.
Yeah.
I know that when I was younger, because of the difference in maturity, I used to misunderstand a lot of what he was doing. So, he was teasing me, and I honestly thought that he was being mean to me, and that he hated me, and that's why he was teasing me. And, of course, no, duh, that's, it was just normal ribbing like friends do.
Dad teases us, and we tease him.
I didn't much like Dad teasing me either.
Boy, that would be unfortunate.
So, even though the age difference stays the same, the maturity difference has really shrunk, now that we're much older.
Yeah.
And so, in the last few years, we've started communicating more, and like you were saying earlier today, we have a common upbringing, we have a lot of the same hobbies and interests. So
political views and stuff like that.
Yeah, so...
We sort of came from the same place, and we see the same sorts of empathy and stuff like that. So
yeah, so our relationship now is pretty good. I'd say we're good friends.
Yeah, we're also kind of loners. Our whole side of our family are a little bit more of the loner persuasion, so we didn't necessarily miss each other that much when we were not in communication that much. It's not like we were deliberately excluding the other person.
We weren't get away from me.
No, it's just that we don't talk to a lot of people, and we happen to not be talking to each other.
And I was living overseas, so
after I was in university, and then I moved to a different town.
Yeah. So that's why we kind of just drifted apart, but it wasn't an intentional, I'm mad at you, so I'm going to not talk to you now.
But then, now as, actual adults of some kind, your brain's, even when you're, 20, your brain is still developing a fair amount, it turns out.
There's a big difference between a 20-year-old and a 27-year-old.
Yeah, so now, really, we got more in touch. Also, the internet became more mature, so there's a lot more stuff to do online. You could play games together, just chat and stuff like that. So now we've been keeping up a bit more with each other, and yeah, it's cool.
Well, and since I started helping out with TDDC as well,
that's another good reason to spend time at least talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty fun.
And then I convinced you into doing the anime thing.
Yep. Anime Indecision, 2015, coming soon.
Soon, TM. Thanks for your questions, everyone. Hopefully I'll be able to come back to Canada again next year, and you'll have your chance then if you didn't get in on it this time. Please remember to like and subscribe. You can also follow Demonac on Twitter or on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter, but my Twitter is less interesting. Okay, I might be a little weird.